I need them. Unless you're going to make me read something and then.
No, I'm not going to make you read anything. We are live. Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome. We are so glad that you are joining us to talk with Ellen Briscom and myself, our very first live, to talk
Yay.
about Sparks Road.
Yay!
I'm so excited. I'm so excited. And hopefully, if you have any comments, go ahead and type them in, and we should see them. There might be a little bit of a delay, so just be patient with us. There might be a 30-40 second delay before we see your comments. But if you have any questions or any comments or congratulations for Ellen, we will accept
Yay!
them all. We will accept them all. So I all day have been thinking about this live, very excited about it. And one question popped in my mind because I thought, I've just been so ensconced in your family for 2 years?
Yes.
And I
2
feel like
years.
I know everything about this story, which is impossible, but I feel that way sometimes. I get arrogant and I'm like, oh yeah, I know all about the story. I can tell you this, I can tell you that. But I'll tell you what I don't know is the beginning of the story. I don't know how you came to this place, to this decision to write this book. Tell me about that.
Oh, what a great question. And really, to be honest with you, I have wanted to tell our story since I was about 17 years old. I've always wanted to tell the story because it's such a good story. And of course, I couldn't read. So how in the world are you going to write a book if you can't read?
Right.
So I had that obstacle. I had lots of obstacles to overcome before I got to this point in my life. I mean, I'm fixing to be 50 years old and I am just now finally getting to produce my dream, which is amazing. And so I had done things like taken writing classes. I had friends help me pull out a, where you go check by check, you put it all in order, and this is the way the story's going to go, and you're going to do it this way, and all that sort of stuff. I've done all of that. I've done little stories here and there, but to actually put a book together is, especially one that is as complicated as our story.
Oh my
God! Not just an easy story. So to be able to put into words, I can tell the story, but I can't. I was having such a hard time before I met you, and I'm so grateful that I met you because there's no way this project would have ever come to fruition had we not gotten together. And it's really, really just been an amazing journey altogether.
It's thrilling. Yeah. So when you were a teenager, like 14, 15, like how old?
Probably 17 is when I really started to learn how to read, is when I really wanted to tell the story.
Okay.
Because it was such an accomplishment and it wasn't just 17. I mean, it took me years and years. I mean, the years I went to college learning how to read and catch up on all the stuff I had missed from before. And
that's another thing I didn't know. I'm just learning that today.
Yes. So I've always wanted to tell the story, but just didn't know how I was going to tell the story. And I really wanted to write a book, but writing a book is so much more challenging than I would have ever imagined it to be.
Yeah.
And so once I got to you, it became an actual joy instead of an anxiety pressure. Like I would sit down to write and I would be like, oh my goodness, I don't even know what to say. And it doesn't make sense.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing.
We've been able to go down this journey where we interviewed all of our parents. The fact that we were able to interview all of my parents.
Yes. That's what maybe people don't know about this story is that it really had to be told from 8 different perspectives, from all 4 parents, all 4 sisters, capturing everybody's kind of essence and attitude and mindset and accomplishments and struggles. And it has been, like you said, it's been a
we have a
journey.
full book and we've barely scratched the surface.
And
Like,
right.
and it's so funny because I've seen these comments on Facebook about, oh, I remember being on Sparks Road, or I remember growing up, and I'm thinking, oh, I wish I would have been able to get all the stories in, but there's just
Yeah.
no way.
There's so many.
There's so
There's so
many,
many.
and to keep it to where you don't get confused. So
Right. Right.
building the characters and the scenery and the relationships.
Yeah.
You did such a beautiful job of putting that all together. And what's funny is we're here at the end where it's all done and we're like, yay, we did it. It's great. But what we didn't talk about is the first 3 times we tried to write it and we're like, nope, that's not right.
And kudos to you. I was just talking about you to somebody, it was either today or yesterday, about how wonderful it has been to work with you. I'm actually going to do a video specifically about the ghostwriter author relationship, because a lot of people think that when you hire a ghostwriter, the ghostwriter does all the writing, and that's not true.
Right.
The author is an integral part of the process, and you even more so. I think you are the model of what a good client relationship is to have with a ghostwriter, because you didn't know very much about the authoring world, and
No.
yet you were able to say, when we finished that first draft, you were like, Ange, you're amazing. I love your writing, but this is not it.
Yeah.
This is not it. And I
Yeah.
think that's such an important thing for people to do when they are hiring someone, particularly to tell their story. Nobody knows your story like you do. And that first time just didn't get it. It just didn't capture who you were. And so we went back and we started over, which I always say, like, I would do that for any client. I would always start over, because I don't want a client to feel, they've paid me, we've had all this time together, we've built this rapport, and then I say, oh, well, you paid me for a story, I wrote your story. Like, I think that's wrong, and a lot of ghostwriters do that. But what's funny is, even after we finished the second time, you said, this is not it. Like, you had a vision, and I think that is such an important thing to talk about, is really knowing what you want to hear, what you want to see, what you want the book to convey. And you came back that second time and you said, we got to start over and do it again. Now, usually I would charge for that third time, but I'm telling you, I was so wrapped up in this story, like it had become my own. And it was like you were the mama and I was the godmama, and I was going to see this thing through to the end, and it was going to be what you see. Like, I was anxious to find out. I got to get in her head. I got to see what she sees. She sees something and I don't see it. I got to find it. So that is so cool. Now, how did you get everyone to cooperate? Because I've done a lot of these memoirs, Ellen, and I will tell you that a lot of times we have to change all the names, change the place. All the boys have to be girls and the girls have to be boys. It's like the family's like, I don't want you to tell my story. First of all, how did you get your parents on board?
Well, surprisingly, everybody was so supportive of me telling this story.
Wow.
And again, there were, I'm sure, times when we were many, many moons ago where it was really hard for them when they were making those decisions and making those relationships. But the fact of the matter is, they all still get along. They all still have relationships with each other. They all still have relationships with all of us girls. So nobody was really, when I said, I just want to tell the story, and they were like, of course you do. You've been wanting to do this forever. Of course. What can we do to support you? And every single one of them, like I said, we interviewed everybody. And as we continue on into book 2, because, book 1, you just can't get it all in there. We'll have to continue to interview.
Yeah.
And I think that everybody loves each other and everybody still gets along. And I think that has a huge part to do with why everybody was okay with
Yeah.
telling this story.
That blew me away that when I remember the first day, I remember it like it was yesterday when you said, "Oh yeah, we all still have Thanksgiving together. We all still have Christmas together. We babysit each other's, kids and grandkids, and we fix each other's cars, and I'm going here to take this mom shopping, and this dad needs somebody to come sit with him after surgery." And I'm like, after all you guys went through together, after this crazy, crazy story, you're still a unit and
Yes.
still working together and loving each other. I had to meet these people. I had to meet these people. So now what about your sisters? Because now that's a different story. Were they all equally excited, or did you need to
Yes.
twist some arms?
No, really. And it's so funny because my sister Jennifer is probably the most difficult to get information out of. She's not like, here's my open book. She's much more reserved.
Right, right.
And even Jen was more than willing to tell her parts of the story or what was going on at for her at that time
Yeah,
in her life.
yeah.
Um, and really everybody, it's just such a good story. You can't not share it. You have
It's
to
a
share it.
great story. Yeah, this is not a story that I've ever heard before.
Hmm.
Um, it's not that I don't believe others have done it. It's just no
Oh
one
yeah.
has ever really talked about it. And for this book to be a true story, based on a true story, I think gives it a little extra cachet. It's a little more exciting. It's a little more salacious. For those of you who don't know, there's some steamy parts in the book. Not made for younger eyes or ears. It gets really racy at some parts, but other parts are just like heartbreak, and like difficult decisions that had to be made by people in your family. And then to hear that you all are still together after all of that. When I say that your family is magical, that's why I always, when you tell me to choose my favorite line from the book, I choose that line because I think your family is magical. I cannot imagine
Well,
any other family. My family couldn't do it. They get mad over a chicken bone, so they would be angry over what happened. I don't want to give it all away, but what happened to you guys? No, my family could not have survived that.
well, and it's funny because, I'm having this book launch and I'm posting about it um and everybody wants to come. And
Wow.
I love the idea that all my parents are going to try to be there.
Yeah.
Hopefully there won't be any more medical emergencies, for the love of Pete.
Yes, we're done with that.
We're done with all of that. But it's neat to me that they will all be there together so that other people can see that it's real. They still really have relationships. They're still really friends.
Yeah.
Um, they still are involved in all of our kids' lives.
What about regrets? Now that you're through the first part of the process, is there anything that you would say you regret
Hmm.
or you wish you had done differently, or
I
how
wish
do
I
you
would have
feel
done
about
it
it?
sooner.
Ah,
I
okay.
wish I would have done it sooner
Yeah.
because my parents are older now, and I want them
Memories fade.
yes, and I want them, not that they're got one foot in the grave or anything, but I want them to be able to see book 2 and book 3 and continue to
Yes.
see where this is going to go when the Netflix series picks it up, because you can't come up with a story like this.
No. No. I see these television networks starving for a great story, and I cannot imagine, like, there is no place in my mind of doubt where where I'm thinking, oh, maybe Netflix won't pick it up, or maybe, Hallmark won't pick it up, or whoever won't pick it up. I'm not even concerned. And maybe I should be. Maybe I'm just being arrogant. But honestly, Ellen, it's such a compelling story that, particularly how it ends, I think people might accept the beginning parts, what happened with the family, but I don't know that they can accept how things ended up, and that you all made the decisions that you made, or you couldn't have made any decision. You were just a little thing, but that your parents made the decision that they made. And I think that's really cool. I thought you might have said, um, that you regret telling their story and not your story, because that was a hard decision to make. We had to decide, do we talk about you and what you experienced, or do we go all the way back to their backstories? And I think that was a brilliant decision on your part, and very courageous and very selfless, because I think that that's so necessary for the reader to know who they are, so they get to know who you are.
You couldn't have said it any better. I mean, I wouldn't be who I am without having them in my life, and them being who they are. And so every single person had a really huge impact on my life at different times too. Sometimes there were different things going on where, one parent was there more than another parent, or something else was going on. And it all seemed to work out where no matter what was going on that was difficult at the time, there was always someone there to support.
Yeah. Wow.
And you don't always get that.
No, not at all. Not at all. Well, there's so many passages from this book that we could read. And, so we have to keep it G-rated for today. Okay. So that narrowed it down quite a bit. But I think that one of the funniest stories, or at least heartwarming stories, is from chapter, I believe it's chapter 9. Yeah, chapter 9. It's called A Story Worth the Scar. So if Ellen will allow me to have the pleasure, I'm going to read that chapter to you guys today, and you're going to get a little taste of what the book is like, and some of the humor and some of the drama and some of the craziness that happened when Ellen was just a tiny little thing. So here we go.
Yay.
I wasn't the first girl to steal my father's heart. There had been plenty before me, and there would be plenty after me. But the bond my father and I shared was strong. His love for me was boundless, and I knew he would cross oceans and slay dragons to protect me. Many are the times he ran to my rescue, but one story in particular stands out among them all. There are some stories so good, so rich, they deserve to be told again and again. While others might be funny, poignant, or interesting, some deliver such a powerful punch of laughter and mayhem, they are unpacked with the Christmas lights and rolled out at every family gathering, or shared around the barbecue grill year after year. Such was the story of the scar. The day was coming to an end, the sun depriving South Texas of its golden glow, giving way to a dip in temperature and a chill that hung in the air. Janet, heavily pregnant with my sister Glenda, grabbed her jacket from the hook and headed for the front door to run an errand. But just before she opened it, she halted, a twinge of concern etching across her face. Her eyes shifted towards Mike, a mixture of care and uncertainty. He was a new dad, and she questioned leaving him to handle bath time and bedtime alone. She spoke softly, her words laden with consideration. Mike, are you absolutely certain you'll be all right here with Ellen? It's only going to be a few hours, but I can easily cancel my plans if you'd rather not. Mike smiled. Janet, relax. Go have fun. I think I'm capable of taking care of our 2-year-old for a few hours. Besides, I only have to give her a bath and then she's off to bed. He lifted me into his arms, kissed my mom, and gave her a little push out the door. Don't worry, we'll be fine. How hard can it be? How hard can it be? A chill coursed through the room as the tail end of the wind swept through the house, its icy fingers tracing over my skin. My father closed the door and rubbed a warm hand over my arm. He carried me down the hallway toward the bathroom to begin what should have been a typical nighttime ritual of a bath followed by bedtime. But this night would be anything but typical. Mike reached into his front pocket and retrieved a lighter. His smile met my eyes before he lit the old wall furnace to provide warmth in the chilly bathroom. This was a feature common in houses of a bygone era, a throwback to the craftsmanship of the 50s. The scent of gas filled the air as my father turned the knob, and I watched with wide eyed wonder as he caressed a burst of flames. The furnace roared to life, sending warm air into the bathroom. With the bathroom heated up, my father pulled back the curtain above the tub and turned on the water. He put the back of his hand under the water to test it, then lowered my hand toward the faucet. My fingers met the stream. Excitement bubbled as I splashed my hand under the spigot, getting Dad's clothes wet. Recognizing my eagerness to get in my bubble bath, my father undressed me. As he prepared to lower me into the tub, a realization crossed his face. The towel had been left behind. He lifted a finger of caution as he set me on the floor. Just a moment, little one. Don't try to get in the water yet. I'll be right back. He disappeared into my bedroom. Seconds later, he heard a sound that must have stopped his heart, the slam of the bathroom door echoing down the hall. Expletive, I won't say. But you guys can guess what he said when he heard the door close. The word slipped through his lips as he sprinted back down the hallway. He reached the bathroom door and confirmed his worst fear: locked. He rattled the doorknob, but it was too late. My little hands had purposely or inadvertently turned the lock, trapping my father outside. Another expletive. He muttered his expletive again under his breath. Ellen, he said in a fake sing-songy voice, open the door. Just turn the knob, sweetheart. Too little to understand, I joined in the fun. Daddy? He lowered himself down on all fours, peeking under the gap beneath the door. The fibers of the carpet brushed against his face as he strained to catch a glimpse of me. A sigh escaped his lips, a mixture of tension and relief as he caught the sight of my feet on the other side. His worries were alleviated, at least for the moment. I was okay. Ellen, darling, come to Daddy. Turn the knob. Open the door. He wiggled his fingers under the door to coax me over. His hope that I would understand his intentions and lend him a hand in overcoming the barrier that separated us was an ambitious one at best. I walked over and touched his fingers. Daddy! He wiggled his fingers. Honey, turn the knob. I perceived the fear in his voice and began to cry. Daddy! Honey, don't cry. Daddy's going to get you out. He started to sing to the slow cascade of my tears. But a greater threat was mounting, signaled by the sound of rushing water filling the tub. Time was running out. He sang louder, I suspect to calm himself and me. It worked as the tender strains of his song silenced my cries for a moment. Then I turned quickly, remembering a special treat reserved for bath time. Mrs. Potts, my red teapot, with her large blue eyes perched in her customary spot above the shower. Her presence was a subtle reminder of fun, familiarity, and comfort. I wanted to hold her in my little hands. I strained to get her, but she was positioned well beyond my reach. Undeterred, I mustered my determination and gripped the edge of the tub. Still too far. I grabbed onto the shower curtain as an anchor and climbed up to get her with my feet on the side of the tub, gripping the cold edge for support. The shower curtain temporarily provided balance as I teetered on the edge. In that moment, my world was all about the teapot, my little hands stretching toward the prize. In the meantime, my dad, still crouched under the door, lost sight of my feet and panicked. Ellen, come to Daddy. No response. Ellen, baby, please come here. Silence. Urgency gripped his heart as the magnitude conjured all of the possibilities happening on the other side of the door. He rushed outside to see me from the bathroom window and found me in my precarious position on the tub's edge, close to reaching the prize teapot. Ellen, his voice carried an air of command. Ellen, get down. Go stand by the door. His words, though protective in tone, had a fatherly firmness. He was probably remembering his promise to my mother that he could handle things. How hard can it be? I glanced at my dad at the window and returned my focus to getting Mrs. Potts. I was determined to have her and stretched my tiny body to claim my treasure. That decision set off a chain of consequences. A stretch of my body to its limits lifted me onto my tiptoes, my left hand extending toward the teapot, while my right hand tugged at the shower curtain for added leverage. Every muscle strained as I reached. Then, as if choreographed by misfortune, the shower rod gave way. On its way down, the metal rod smacked me in the face, a painful blow that left me reeling. I tumbled from my perch, my world spinning, as I met the cold, unforgiving bathroom floor. Outside, my father's heart, oh, sorry guys, lost my place. My father's heart raced as he watched the events unfold, powerless to interrupt my fate. Suddenly, his parental instincts overpowered his helplessness. In a swift motion, he shattered the window pane, the glass falling like a cascade of diamonds. He lifted the window and climbed in with the urgency of a firefighter rescuing a precious life from a blaze. My screams intertwined with my cries as both fear and pain took over. Blood trickled down my face, mingling together with my tears. My father's arms wrapped around me. Expletive! He took me to my bedroom, wrapped me in a yellow and white bedspread, and rushed me to the emergency room. I received 4 stitches in my chin that night. Though I ended up with a scar, I was gifted with one of the best stories my family loves to tell. Occasionally, when I want to have a little fun, I turn to my father and say, "So tell me again, Dad, how hard could it be?"
Well done.
I love that story. It's so great. That's one of the sweet, sweet stories in the book. Of course, like I said, there's wow, when I talk about this book, you just don't even know which parts to start with. I mean, there's the war that your father lived through. There was all the drama that your mom experienced, Janet. There's, there's a little bit of international flair in there, with Linda's parents. And
Yes.
there's just so much. But then it gets into the nitty gritty, which is what happened between these 4 people. And I just want to say, I love all of my clients. Obviously, they're all wonderful. And all the books that we produce at 846 are really, really great. But there's something so very special about this book. And I want to encourage anybody, everybody who sees this, hear this, if you are looking for a good read, just wholesome, powerful, emotive, moving, exciting, funny, if you're looking for something that really meets cuts the mustard, as my mother would say, this is the book, right? I mean, I can brag for you. I know you would not brag for yourself, but I can brag for you because I know what you went through. So we're coming up on time. We've just got a few minutes left. So I'm just curious, how are you feeling now that the writing is over and the marketing, the advertising, the interviews, and all of that is about to begin?
The marketing piece makes me very nervous. Now that it's here, I'm excited about meeting the people and going to live events and talking to people on podcasts and all of that sort of thing. But the social media makes me much more anxious, I guess, because there's so much to do with it. And I guess I never realized how much goes into just promoting and getting your name out there and starting small, because I am an author that doesn't have any background. I don't have a #1 best-selling yet. We have, it's
but
coming.
You will.
Oh, but it will.
You will. This book is going to rocket to #1. I don't have the slightest doubt. But you're right. That's the part of writing the book that some people know about and it stops them.
Hmm.
And that's the part that some people don't know about and they're not prepared for it. So that's a really good lesson for anyone out there who's thinking about following in Ellen's footsteps and writing a book of your own, that it is a business. And I think you do have to sort of treat your book as a business, especially when you have a trilogy like Ellen's working on, or potentially a series which would have many episodes. I think
Hmm.
that you do need to think about it as a business. It's hard work. The
Yeah.
learning curve is steep. It's still steep for me. I've been doing this for 9 years. Because here's the thing, I told my kids this the other day: technology is running so far ahead of us. It's like you can't at any moment think you've got it, because you haven't got it, because it'll change tomorrow.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, I think your resilience and your attitude about that has been great. Tell me about your family, your husband and your kids. How are they dealing with all of this?
Again, I don't know how I hit the lottery, but I managed to hit the support lottery because my husband's been super supportive. My kids have been so excited about it. They're they're like, "Mommy, can I come with you and interview with you?" And I'm like, "No." Nice try though.
Hey, we might bring the kids in. You never know. Get that.
Well,
Everybody loves kids,
they're
especially
wanting to
new kids.
know, "Is your book about us yet?" And I was like, "You're not even born yet. You're coming in like book 3. We'll get you there later, but it's
Yes,
coming. You're coming," because that's a whole nother story and how we got our family, you know? It wasn't
yes.
just your normal typical have a baby and now you have a family. Our family was built just in a
You don't
very
do
special
anything normal, typical. That's not even in your vocabulary. I don't even think it's in the dictionaries in your house. Normal, typical is not the way the Black family rolls, right? The
No.
Blacks, the Briscoes, the Arlets, y'all don't roll
Yeah.
typical. So
No typical. No
nice.
typical. But
Advice then, now that you've come through the major part of the process, what advice would you have to anybody who wants to do what you did?
be prepared for the business side of it because the there was so much joy in the journey of writing the book, and now it's the business side of it, and really you have to really focus on it being a business. And
Hmm.
so my work is just now beginning. It's I'm just now getting to get busy.
Yeah. Are you
So
proud of yourself? I mean, this has been a dream for how many? 3 decades, maybe?
yeah,
Do
yes,
you do you feel are you letting yourself be proud of yourself?
it comes in waves. I think because
Okay.
I don't want to be sarcastic and be like, "Ooh, look at me," But
Right.
I am really proud of myself.
Yeah.
And as I was sending out messages and letting people know about the book, and people coming back and saying, "Wow, I'm so proud of you," it it really is overwhelming.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but I'm proud of me too. I'm really, really excited, and because I've wanted to do it for so long, and now I've done it.
You've
We've
done
done
it.
it. We've
You've
done
done
it.
it. Yeah. Yeah. And the next two will be so easy because we've got our flow. We know how we work together. We know exactly what we're looking for.
Yes.
So the next two will be a breeze, and all the business stuff you will have already put in place. So it does get better from here. If
Oh,
I can
good.
give you a word of encouragement.
Yes. Yes.
The book is Sparks Road by Ellen Briscom. And if you want more information about the book, you can log on to sparksroad.com and you can connect with Ellen. I think she might still have a few spots left for early readers. So if you'd like an advanced copy, maybe not, we'll see. But if you would like to vie for that spot, go ahead and log on to sparksroad.com. There's a spot there where you can fill out your information and ask to be a part of Ellen's team and her community. And you will not find a better person to work with. You will not find someone more joyful and encouraging. And she's just the way you see her today is how she has been for the last 2 years. I've never seen anything but this woman. Sometimes with a baseball cap on.
Yes. Definitely. I love my baseball cap.
Yes, we've had plenty of bad hair days in the last 2 years. years. We've been through it all. But listen, guys, definitely want to invite you to Ellen's book launch if you're in the Austin area, or even in the Dallas area. We've got quite a few people coming from Dallas, Fort Worth area as well, because it's not too far. It's going to be at the Thirsty Mule on March 23rd.
Mm-hmm.
March 23rd from 1 to 3 at the Thirsty Mule. That is the Thirsty Mule Winery. So come and have a glass of wine with us and some pizza and some mules. That's what I've been telling everyone. And the mules seem to be really drawing lots of folks. They want to come see the mules.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a gorgeous time. I mean, it's just beautiful out there. We're going to take lots of pictures and just laugh and just have a blast, because that's what a book launch is all about. It's about enjoying the culmination of the process. So get the book, log on to sparksroad.com. If you want to buy the ebook, you can pre-order it now, and the print book will be out in a couple of days for you to pre-order. And I think that's all the announcements I'm supposed to make, Ellen. Did I forget anything?
I think that's all we've got for now. We're working on the audio book, so as soon as that comes out, that will come out behind.
Yes, and I know a lot of people want the audio book. About half the sales in the literary world right now are audio, so it's so very important to do. And so yeah, the audio book will be out.
It's coming
shortly. Awesome. Well, thank you, Ellen, for sharing your time with me. Thank you for choosing me. I'm so honored to be a part of the process.
I'm telling you, God chose you. He picked you. It was the right fit, and it's just been such an amazing experience.
Well, the best is yet to come. The best is yet to come. All right. Bye, everyone. We'll see y'all next time.